Today I'm going to take you guys on a tour of my doll storage area that is in my basement. So if you've ever wondered how on earth do you store such a large collection, because I have over 4,000 dolls and obviously countless play sets, accessories, and clothes for them. Because I have been collecting for about 25 years of my life, and I'm a very serious collector. I just love dolls and having things for them, etc. So if you're wondering where I store this all, I'm going to take you on a tour of that space. I have shown it before in my house tour from 2017, as well as in my organizational series that I did around the same time, but things have changed and been updated, actually because there was a mini flood in my basement from the hot water heater having a pipe that wasn't fitted properly. It burst and it sprayed a lot of water, and although I was home and I was able to turn off the water within like a minute of it happening, it did make some of the carpets pretty damp. And while I was downstairs moving things out of the way and cleaning the carpets and wiping the walls down to prevent any mold growth, I ended up feeling inspired to fix the areas that I wasn't happy with, which is one of the reasons why I didn't film this video before, because I have pretty high standards for how I want things to be organized. So in the end, the mini flood ended up kind of being a blessing in disguise, because it gave me the kick in the pants to finish what I had been wanting to for years. Please keep in mind that I have, like I said, been collecting for 25 years, and what you're gonna see did not happen overnight. It did not happen in 1 year or 5 years. It's taken like almost 3 decades for me to amass all of these things. I thrift a lot of stuff. I also find a lot of free things, and when it comes to the stuff that I use as organizational pieces, I try to use what I already have. And again, I've thrifted things, found things on sale, and the pieces that I did decide to invest money in, like certain plastic drawers and stuff, I did it little bits at a time. I would buy 1 or 2 drawers and then wait a few weeks and buy another 1 or 2 drawers. You get the idea. So if you are wanting to get ideas from this video for your own collection, or you're just curious, just please keep that in mind that this didn't happen overnight. I worked incredibly hard to make this space not only functional, but also inviting. And you know, my house is old, and it is the house we grew up in, and at some point the basement did look like a really scary episode of Hoarders. It was terrible. People never believe me because they see how it looks now, but at some point there was just piles of trash, and there was like animal feces and all kinds of things down there when my dad was alive. And after he passed away, I did a deep clean, and I actually had to sweep the carpet before I could vacuum because it was that bad. So when I take you on this tour, please keep in mind that like there are some stains on the carpet, when there are, like, you know, the furniture is not perfect looking, the paneling is like 20 years old, etc. And we just happen to be in a lucky position where it's just my sister and I living together. We have the whole basement to do whatever we want with, and we're both doll collectors, and this is how we chose to utilize our space. So you'll be seeing the majority of the basement. There is, of course, like the laundry room where the wood stove is that doesn't have doll stuff in it, but basically you'll be seeing every other part of the basement. I hope you enjoy. Let's get to the tour. So when you come down the stairs, this is what you see, this big open area, and some shelves and stuff. So these baby gates, please ignore them. They are to keep my 17-year-old cat from wandering around and pooping where he wants. It kind of guides him to the litter box. So that's where we're at. So we're gonna start in this room here. This was my sister's bedroom when we lived down here, but before that, when we were little kids, there was actually a dining room table that was cut down, and we'd play Barbies on that table in here. So this room is half the same and half changed. So these are just some large hamsters that my friend Lisa gave us a few years ago, and they're really big and cute, but I don't know where to put them, so I just have them on this recliner. And these are my 2 Barbie cases that I have. These actually convert into play sets. And then all around, like the windows, you can see we have my Our Generation horses. I do have American Girl horses, but they are stored in the Our Generation stable in the closet to keep them from getting dusty, because these are just plastic, so they dust off a lot easier. And then we have our childhood wardrobes. I need to get little handles for mine. I don't know where the handles went. But in here, this is just where we store like our Cabbage Patch clothing. That's one piece. And then this one is for American Girl dresses that are just one piece rather than bag them. And these are more Cabbage Patch clothes. And then in the drawers, this is where we keep hangers for like doing doll laundry and stuff. All of those drawers are hangers. And then you'll see we have 4 matching units. These were purchased at different times. I bought 2 of them originally for my Cabbage Patch clothes. I had one, and then I don't remember if it was like a few months later or a year later I bought my second one. And at some point I decided to move some of my American Girl clothes, like the contemporary characters, the Girl of the Years, and like my Bitty Babies and Wellies in here. So I bought 2 more recently. These 2 drawers and one tiny one for Brat's shoes are the only things I bought during the basement like makeover. So I spent like less than $100 on everything because these are kind of expensive. I bought my originals at like $20 each, but they upped the price to $35. But these are really nice. The drawers slide out completely and they're pretty thick. And you can see everything is bagged. That is something different than when I did my organization series. Years ago, I used to keep my shoes in, my American Girl shoes in dresser drawers, but now I bag them with the outfits, and I also have all of my handmade like jewelry and stuff in there too, because it makes dressing them easier. And every drawer has a label. Pretty much everything you're gonna see that's in plastic drawers and containers has labels that I made, and these are just black cardstock with white paint pen. And the reason I did it that way is because I used to just label everything with like computer paper and Sharpies, but permanent marker does fade over time, even in areas where you're not getting a lot of sunlight. So you can really see the contrast between the black and the white, and it doesn't fade. And then if I change the label, I can just untape these, flip them around, and use the back side. And then this unit here, it's partially empty because we decided to have some growing room. So right now there's just wellies. And then this is a little tub that we got for free outside one of our neighbors' houses in 2018. If you watched our Sweet Sunday Surprises haul and transformation video from back then. And I recently decided to make a big storage thing for all of our hangers, because so on the bottom, beneath these containers, they're the bigger hangers that we actually use on the drying rack because they're flexible. And then there's clothespins, the smaller hangers, the pants hangers, and then the wire hangers that I drape off of the drying rack for the doll hangers that are too small. And that's a really great way because I can just pick that up and carry it with me upstairs where I hang my clothes to dry. And then we've repurposed these dressers underneath the stairway here. So this piece goes to my sister's bedroom set that once belonged to my grandmother. I think it's for jewelry, and I think that's why there's like little keyholes. But I used to keep American Girl shoes in here. However, now we keep Cabbage Patch clothes. These are not the factory clothes. These are all like human baby clothes and things like that for them, or like off-brand clothes that happen to fit cabbies. And they're all organized in here. We have my mannequin head, my Yasmin, that I got at a thrift store, and these are great for putting like hair accessories on. She has way less than she used to because, again, I bag a lot of my hair accessories that I specially made. And then this old jewelry box has some Twist and Style Tiffany hair accessories. And then this is a jewelry box that we thrifted that has some American Girl earrings in it and a few like jewelry items. The American Girl earring tree I got for free at the flea market that has some of our studs. This is an old jewelry box that my sister actually used to use for Molly's stuff. And here, these are just like, some of these are empty. And then in here there's like a little tray that has hair ties and clips, things that we wouldn't bag. There's headbands and like Isabel's bun maker set. This I got on sale from American Girl. It's the jewelry box for girls for Isabel. And I used to keep all of my jewelry in here. It's currently empty because I bag everything now. but I can use it for that in the future. Likewise, this was a jewelry box that belonged to my grandmother that used to hold earrings, but they're really nice quality pieces, and I'm sure we'll use them eventually. They're just currently empty. And then in my old bureau here, this is where I used to keep my American Girl shoes, but now we store American Girl accessories. And these are like just old trays and things, cookie tins, the American Girl game, the American Girl Premier game tin, and they're just organized. A Pepsi box that keeps some things in it. This drawer is more accessories. This one is empty. This big guy here holds some American Girl furniture. My handmade bed for Addie, Josephina's sleigh bed, the sleds my dad made for Molly and Addie when we were kids, and my bitty baby high chair. And sometimes these things do go out on display, but this is where we store them in the meantime. And then this bottom drawer is larger accessories, like our American Girl beanbag game, Courtney's guinea pig cage, stuff like that. They're just some empty American Girl tins. They don't close very well, so they're just hanging out for decor. And then this unit is really awkwardly shaped. My mom bought it for the kitchen to put next to the dishwasher, but it was too tall to fit under there, so she gave it to me. And I used to keep my bitty baby stuff in here, but now we just keep ceramic American Girl items. So like Molly's potted flowers, and then Molly has tea sets. And then we each had like a childhood tea set, you know, like for little kids that we kept because we played with them with our American Girls. So that's why they're in here all wrapped up, to keep them protected. And then we have Molly's trunk, Samantha's trunk, which I actually was given this for free. It's missing some drawers, but it can hold some of Samantha's accessories. Molly's holds her accessories, but she has so many that her accessories spilled over into other things. And then this is my sister's Our Generation trunk that I picked her out for Christmas. If you watched my video on reorganizing this that I made many years ago, it might look familiar. This actually holds American Girl accessories now. So you can see here, these are like some bags, and they're Halloween bags. These are Nenea's. This is all like my horse stuff. Some of this is my childhood Our Generation horse accessories. And then these are Biddy's toys. And then we have like Addie's balloon from the doll hospital and this Felicity shovel I got at a thrift store. And I did tape some cardboard over the window here just to keep dust from getting inside. And then this trunk here, this my dad got from the dump. Someone was going to throw it away. He got me this when I was maybe 10 or 11. And we just keep like a few books and masks and things up there. And then in here, these are all their hats that you wouldn't want to bag. And then Colleen's friend from work gave her a bunch of her daughter's old Our Generation, My Life, American Girl stuff, and this is where we keep like the extra stuffed animals and pets. Then over here, this is kind of like the unfinished area of the basement because there was supposed to be a bathroom over here that my parents never finished putting in. This is just my old desk that I think my dad got for free, and in it the drawers just have some like, some of them are empty and some of them have like little organizers for when I need trays for organizing. And then these are all various containers that we've accumulated over the years from buying things secondhand, or maybe stuff we bought that we changed out. This one here was from the Oldie Moldies lot, and this actually houses like fake presents I made for photo props. And then there's just like different trays that we use for doing laundry. Then over here, this is where I keep all of my like Barbie cars and Bratz cars and whatnot. And there's also a few overflow containers of smaller furniture. These units are really cheaply made. They weren't insanely expensive. I want to say they were like $45 each. I've had them for years, but they don't hold a lot of weight and they're kind of an awkward size. So like these gray containers here, you can't fit two of them together on the shelf. It's really weird. That's why they're split up. But these have like smaller Barbie cars. They're also bagged, as you can see. Like this is kind of what those look like on the inside, where there's bagged labeled cars to keep them from getting dusty, but that way they're like not flopping around and like rolling off the shelf. The things like horses, and then like up there, those are my Batman mansions, Bruce Wayne manors that and bat caves that I had as a kid. And then this is like a diorama that they were going to throw out at my sister's work that we use for photos sometimes. Some American Girl furniture like Felicity's tables bagged. So some of it's like organized by what it is, but because of how awkwardly shaped some of these things are, it doesn't always work out perfectly. But we have like my 2 magical motorhomes, and I'll label which one's nicer and which one's in less nice condition, so I know when I go to take photos. Over here we have this big brown dresser. Actually, when we were living down here, my childhood guinea pigs, Peter and Tina, their cage was up here. So now it holds my Barbies, not all of them, but these are my 90s and 2000s Barbies. You can see they're labeled. I really like how these containers are see-through, because it's cute, because you can see them. This particular dresser has drawers that really warp. They don't always open. They get kind of stuck, so I try not to keep anything in here that's too important that I need access to regularly. But the reason why I haven't gotten rid of any of the dressers is because they hold a lot of weight, and we already have them, so I hate to like get rid of stuff just to buy new stuff. And I do have things that I like to keep but I don't use all the time, so there's like extra handmade stands in here from when I have my Monster High dolls on display. This drawer has just some random playset pieces, like connector pieces that we don't know what they go to. And these are just like plastic doll stands that came with the dolls, which I have sold plastic doll stands like almost 10 years ago. I sold all my Monster High stands and my Bratzilla stands, but I've accumulated more in that time. This drawer is broken. I need to fix it. These are all Becky's wheelchairs. They're really delicate. As you can see, we have many. That's because some of them are my childhood chairs. Then this one my sister bought at the flea market for like $2 when we were kids. And I've gotten like boxed versions of the dolls as an adult. And their arms break off all the time, and their wheels are delicate, so they live in here. These are like where I keep my LOL cardboard backdrops that came with their play sets, and these are like my Generation Girl play sets that are cardboard. Again, things we don't need much, but we don't want them getting crushed. And then this big unit has been in the house forever. It's all doll stuff now. When my parents were alive, it was like Christmas decor and tools, but then my dad let me have one space to myself, and then the dolls slowly started taking over, and now that it's just me and Colleen, it's all doll stuff. So again, because of the size of the containers, unfortunately I have to kind of blend in dolls and play sets to distribute the weight a certain way and based on like the spacing of the shelves. But you can see I keep the lighter weight things up here, so these are all like my Monster High dolls and smaller collections that are in smaller containers. I can't keep anything cardboard up here because sometimes these pipes sweat in the humidity, so that makes the container lid, sometimes they'll get a little condensation on the top from the pipes. I've never had issues with the dolls getting moldy or wet or anything. That's why I always store them in plastic containers. Also, side note, as I mentioned at the introduction of this video, we had a problem with the hot water heater, a pipe bursting above it from the pressure of the tank, because it wasn't fitted properly, I guess. This space up here in this little cubby is the hot water heater, and the water was spurting out here and got all over my dolls. So if they had been in anything but plastic tubs, they would have gotten wet. It would have been a whole thing, but we were able to dry off the lids and move the containers, move the bureau, and like clean this area. So plastic, plastic, plastic. There are rumors going around that plastic causes mold in dolls. I've heard this. Anywhere you store dolls, if you're in a damp, dark environment, that could happen. There could be mold, but the containers themselves are going to protect against sweaty pipes or mice or bugs. I've kept dolls in plastic containers for literally 15 years now, more than that. Even when I was a kid, I kept some of my dolls in plastic containers. I didn't touch my dolls for like 5 years at some point when my basement looked like hoarders. I opened them up, they were as fresh as the day I put them in there. So I swear by plastic containers. Take my little anecdote about the hot water heater spurting water everywhere. I mean, it was streaming and you could hear it from upstairs. It was that much pressure, so I definitely say plastic. Anyways, over here we have some lighter weight furniture containers, so like bedroom, groceries, restaurants, outdoor recreation. I have these organized by what they are rather than by decade, because when we access play sets, that's for photos and things, and obviously we want them by what they are rather than the years. And there's just different dolls. I won't go through all of them. Some of them are really big containers, like this guy is for like living room furniture and random household stuff. And then tucked in the little like cubbies, there will be smaller things, like we have 2 fold and fun houses, like my Francie case. This is where I keep my magic snow cabins. I actually have 2 in there. This is my 1980 Barbie dream pool. The box is really battered, but the pool is like so huge, I kept it in there. This does not house my soda shops. I have 2 soda shops, but I actually keep the few boxes I've saved, like my Superstar Barbie box and my sister's Pet Pal Skipper box. This is where the camp out tent is stored. And then more containers for dolls. I recently, like last year, reorganized them so they were in smaller containers where there'd be less weight on the dolls and it'd be easier to find who we needed. But like Ken, for instance, needs these big containers. So that's this unit. It's really handy, and that's why there's a chair right here, so we can stand on the chair and pull out what we need. Everything up here is lightweight, for the record. Then we go into my old bedroom. So here, there's nothing on these removable walls because the furnace and the hot water heater are here. And, you know, when we need people to come and like work on them or whatever, or, you know, when there's an incident like what happened with the hot water heater, you don't want anything there. This is my 1979 dream house. I have to get large bags to cover this because it does get dusty, but it's weirdly shaped because it's an A-frame and it's in parts, so that's why it's out here and not in the closet with the other items. I just need to get large bags. I literally just finished cleaning the basement a few days ago, so I haven't gotten bags for this yet. And that's our old coffee table that won't fit in the living room because we have couches that recline, so that kind of gets in the way. This is not a closet, it's where the oil tank and the well tank are. And then this is what the rest of the room looks like. These old wooden drawers my grandmother had, she used to have crafting stuff in them, and then she didn't want them. She didn't take them when she moved out. And I did have Barbie dolls in here, but if you're familiar with like real wood, you know it like warps, so you can't always get in here very easily. But this thing is a beast. It's really nice quality, so I do keep things I don't need access to all the time. So these are like my Batman figures that I saved from childhood, and a few Harry Potter things of my sister's. And is like all of our wooden dollhouse furniture that goes to our childhood dollhouses. And then the other 3 are just American Girl furniture pieces, like handmade desks and extra chairs. Nothing like real American Girl, but like little bits and bobs. And then in this cabinet here, this is where, it's kind of dark, sorry, there's only 1 light bulb in here. This is where we keep all of our tackle boxes. There's tons of these, and they're all organized. So there's some for Barbie food, some for Bratz, some for Barbie makeup, Mary-Kate and Ashley, Monster High, Bratz Kids, you name it, it's in here. This is all Monster High parts. And then there are 2 doll containers in here. So these are like my random kids, like Jody dolls and like those little Barbie kids from the 90s, Heart Family kids. These are Chrissy and Small Babies. And then this is actually a fishing tackle box that my dad bought me when I first got back into collecting. I cleaned it out, he took all the tackle out of it, and this is where we keep some small accessories that are slightly too big for those, so like picture frames and stuff. And then on top of this big daddy, we have some play sets that are too tall for that cheap white plastic unit I showed you at the beginning of this video, but are kind of too small to put in the closet. So, like my townhouse is in its box, and then you can see there's like labels on these. The labels sometimes are facing the other way. But yeah, different things. My Sweet Orchard barn, my Generation Girl high school I had as a kid, etc. So then these are all of my backdrops that I have made over the years out of boxes, scrapbook paper, wrapping paper. I have a video on how I made some of these. I have a very big collection. I think there's about 100 now, and there's also 3 of them upstairs that I use for Flickr guides, but I keep them upstairs because I use them all the time. These were a problem to figure out how to store because they're actually really heavy when they're all lined up like this, and we had them in the closet, but they were outsourcing that space. This Big Daddy can support the weight, and then there's also my Meme sewing table where, so the reason they're all propped up like this is because then you can move them and see what you need. They're double-sided, so there's technically like 200 different options here, but 100 different cardboard boxes. Some of them are different heights because they discontinued the box size that I was using. They all are organized. Like these ones are ones that I made out of leftover wrapping paper or large sheets of paper. Then we have ones that are made from recycled doll artwork or cutouts from like ads, like food pictures and stuff. And then you get into like the scrapbook paper, and there's different pads. Like we have a mermaid themed one and Christmas themed ones, etc. This is my grandmother's old sewing table. I did used to sew on it. I honestly prefer just to pull my machine out and sew on the dining room table. And so I kept this because, again, you can like lean stuff up against it. But these need bags. This is my sister's dollhouse she had growing up. And then this is my dollhouse that my dad made, and they just sit nicely on the sewing table. And then this is actually a thing of dolls that I have yet to figure out where I'm going to put it. These are my large scale dolls. So like my Disney princesses, my Bratz big babies, stuff like that. They all used to be out on display, but I moved them in here after I cleaned them. And then we have all of these white drawers. So this is mostly clothing, but these are bigger accessories over here. So like you can see I have like pets, and then large dishes, electronics, and my Disney stuff. And a lot of these bins, I know I got this one for free on the side of the road. I got this one for free on the side of the road. And then these two, my mom bought me and my sister when we were kids, so we've had them for years. They've had many different things in them over the years. And then some of these, like I bought this one on sale at some point, labeled so you can kind of see what's in them based on the collection size and what we need. Like that's a whole drawer just for Mary Kate and Ashley, cloned and handmade. This drawer is empty. And then these LOL boxes, there's so many of them. I would have kept them with the other LOL stuff, but they were a little bit too big to fit in that drawer. That's why they're in here. And then we have my modular drawers. I wish they still made these. These were pretty expensive per drawer. I bought them over the span of like a year, and I would buy like 1 or 2 at a time, wait a few weeks, buy another 1 or 2. These are awesome. Like you can slide the whole drawer out and then leave the frame if you want to like grab a drawer to dress dolls. They're great. They stack. They're easy to move around for that reason. You can kind of pull the whole tower forward if you want. I recommend these. I wish they still made them. They're insanely expensive on the aftermarket. And then there's some smaller ones. And I do try to keep them organized. Like this is my Bratz tower. And you can see right when they discontinued them, I was 1 shy of finishing that tower. So annoying. And then like all of my Barbie ones. Barbie affiliates, and all the clothes are bagged, if you're wondering. All cloth items get bagged. And then there's potpourri sachets in here, and every single drawer there's like different amounts of potpourri to keep the clothes smelling nice. And then these Big Daddies, I don't like these style drawers. They are kind of cheaply made, but I have 3 of them because I had 2 for arts and crafts, and then I reorganized that room and they became for dolls. And then I had one that I bought specifically for dolls. If there's not like a lot of heavy stuff in them, they do okay, but you can see here that there's this big drawer up. It's out of order. It's because this cracked when we had the flood and I had to move it. So yeah, I had to tape it together and put less weight on it up here. But these are all doll accessories, and every single one of these drawers that has stuff in it, there's different like dividers, and I just repurpose things. Like these are from mushrooms, old Tupperware boxes that I made. You can see like Mary Kate and Ashley again have their own drawer. You can see like what we specifically collect. And then on top here, these are transport bins. Whenever we bring stuff upstairs or bring stuff downstairs to put away. We keep bins. This is from the Labor Day ladies lot we got at the flea market. It's just one of those totes. We carry stuff in it. And this is a bowl that I got my Little Ponies in as a kid at the flea market. I used to have a twin, but the twin broke recently. So that's good for carrying pieces. We also have all those other containers if we are filming like as told by Dolly's and we need a bunch of furniture. So that's why empty containers are great. And then this is all my unidentified clothing that's all subdivided. So there's little bags in here that have like pants and shirts and things. And then this is my Cabbage Patch case that I got on eBay with some dolls and accessories, and this is where all of her shoes and accessories are. And then this closet here, it connects to the other two, so I will show you and explain what's in there. And now get ready for it. This is the room that has changed the most. This is my favorite spot in the basement. Dun, dun, dun. It is my version of Babyland, and also for doll storage. So this was my parents' bedroom. And if you watched my house tour, then you'll know that right here, and you can kind of see the outline where it was my parents' Cali King bed. I took it apart myself. I cut up the mattress in small pieces and brought it to the dump. And now we have all of this space for my dolls. And you can see more, like repurposed dressers. So let's start over here in this little cubby where actually a desk used to be when my parents were alive. But that desk is gone, so I have some Cabbage Patch dolls down here. This room is great for displaying dolls. It doesn't get very dusty. It has a door that closes, and we're in here a lot now. And my Cabbage Patch dolls are kind of taking over the world upstairs, so yep. This is like a bench that we bought my mom for some Christmas mice. I still have the Christmas mice, but they are upstairs put away with Christmas decor. So Almanzo and Laura are like a couple. And then Picasso is riding my big baby's tricycle. So all of these drawers, except the bottom one, are Cabbage Patch clothes. So like these are my preemie clothes. And they're all kind of organized by like sleepers and dresses and things like that. And the bottom drawer is just like American Girl bedding. Some of it's homemade, some of it's real. And then if you go over to the right of the door, this is my mom's old dresser that I actually used to use when I was in high school, but now it's back in this room. It's been since we first cleaned the basement. And all of these drawers, this is our morgue. This is kind of creepy, but this is where all the bodies go. So these are like all my Bratz bodies. These are like the 99 style Barbie bodies, you get it. These are like the standard bodies with like the bent arms, the straight arms, or the shanty arms. These are Monster High bodies and like other specialty bodies. And this one is American Girl catalogs and like pamphlets for dolls. But that way they're organized, so when we need a body, it's easy to assess whether or not we have it. And these drawers aren't really great for clothes because of their size, perfect for bodies. And then over here you can see these are just some of my mom's knickknacks I saved that I put on display in here a long time ago. Yeah, she had a lot more. We got rid of like 90% of my mom's knickknacks over the years, but this even has like a light that's not plugged in. And then those are just photo albums, which are fine. I remember when they made my house tour, someone was concerned about these being here. They're fine. I organized all of her photos and they have like labels, and it's really easy to find if you want to find a picture of something. And then there's these ledges all around this room, which are really handy. So this wagon my dad found for free back in 2011. He put it back together, we painted it together, and I had my bitty babies in it for a long time. But then I got Felicity's catalog bed at the flea market, and I put this downstairs, and I finally found a good use for it again for my Kusas. They look so cute. And then this is one of my sister's record players. The other one's upstairs. So we use this when we're down here and we want to listen to music. It also has a CD player, which we still listen to CDs, so that's great. These are just some old like yearbooks and stuff. And then in here, these are like the albums. And then there's like some more delicate photo albums, like my parents' wedding albums and stuff. And then on this shelf, we have this little chair, which I believe my dad's best friend gave us that he found by someone's garbage. It works great for little Landon. And then we have this was like, we got Christmas stuff in here once. It was like a gift from my friend's parents. It had like food and snacks and stuff in it. It was perfect for my babies, and I actually have like a Cabbage Patch sleeping bag in there for them. It was a great way. I had it out for free for people to pick up, but then nobody wanted it, and I was like, I could use it for my dolls. And then this is my toy chest. That was actually my sister's. It was in the pink room before, but this has housed many things over the years. I'd open it for you, but it's just American Girl furniture that's all laid in there carefully, and it's a perfect spot for my cabbies to sit. And then this is my childhood Cabbage Patch crib. I don't remember the origins of this. It was secondhand when I got it. I have a video where I repainted it. I have bedding I made for it in there, and you can see that I have some cabbies, and I'm so happy that they get to live in here. My Disney princesses were living in here before, but now they live in here. On this side, this is where I keep all my smaller shoe bins. Yeah, madness, the organization. So this is like a tool thing that my dad bought me when I first started collecting again. And this holds like Skipper and Stacy shoes and like a few random things and Kelly's. And then this we bought at the Salvation Army for a few dollars, and it is missing a drawer, and a few of them have like broken handles, but they're great for sorting smaller shoes. These aren't labeled because there's just not a lot of space on these, and you can clearly see like the molds that are in there. But the bigger drawers are labeled. I bought all of these in increments over the years. They discontinued the 5-drawer style, so when I bought this Mary-Kate and Ashley one, it only had 3, but that worked out because this was a perfect size for all my Mary-Kate and Ashley shoes. And then these are our lost shoes, the smaller ones. So this is like a case that I had growing up, and all those drawers are labeled. And then this guy I got at the flea market for free, and I was going to throw it out because it's in really bad shape. But then Colleen suggested we clean it up and use it for lost shoes, and that works out wonderfully. And then there are more shoes. So these are like bigger shoes, Mycene, Ken. And then these are our really big, large lost shoes. These are my Bratz boots. They're all stacked. They're all organized. So all of the duplicates are together. The Express It dolls sold very well. That's also their boots. And then over here, these are all my Bratz shoes. So, just give you a peek inside the drawers. I stand them up because Bratz shoes have painted details, so if you kind of just toss them all in, the paint is likely to get tacky and stick to each other. So, this way, that doesn't happen, because otherwise, they'd probably fit better, and it would be easier because they wouldn't tip over, but that's why they're stood up like that, whereas the other shoes are kind of just placed in. And then in here, this is all, for the most part, American Girl stuff. So this is Emily's drawer because Molly has so many clothes. Emily needed her own. This is Nenea's drawer. These are my big baby's clothes. Who's in here? Oh, this is Samantha and Nellie, Molly by herself, Julie and Ivy. And then these are homemade clothes that we saved that our grandmother made, or a few off-brand things that we save. And then those are Polly Pockets. And this dresser matches the tall one in the pink room. This was my set that I had growing up. It was used when I got it, and it's really nice quality. The drawers get a little stuck on this side, but the drawers open pretty easily on the others. And then we have my bookshelves. These are kind of cheaply made. This one actually I needed to add nails into when we moved it. We bought this one when we did my sister's room over, because as you can see, she has a huge collection of Harry Potter games and puzzles, and this is it pared down, folks. And then we have some of our puzzles and board games, which we do go through phases of using, when it's winter and we're bored and we're cold. It's great. And then down here, I consolidated all of the books. I used to use milk crates that were stacked up as a makeshift bookshelf, but I was able to consolidate all of them, and so we just have my cosmetology school books, some left over from when my sister was in college, and then some sentimental ones that I had growing up, a few doll books. These are all my doll instruction sheets that I saved. And then I have my Bratz cases on display. I used to keep stuff in them, but right now I don't really have a reason to put anything in them. And this window doesn't get a lot of light, and nothing's directly in front of it. They're pushed off to the side, so don't worry about that. Yep, so we just have some cases. That was my childhood case. All my stuff could fit in there at some point. And then we have some bigger animals that are kind of awkwardly shaped that live here, like my Cave Club pets and my Animal Lovin' Barbie ginger giraffe that I got for Christmas one year. And these are our paper dolls that we had growing up that we saved. And then these are some like American Girl activity books. And these are all American Girl books here that are organized, like the World books, the mysteries, the short stories, Girl of the Year. And then these are the historical dolls that run chronologically, so starting with Kaya and ending with Courtney. And there are a few duplicates because some of these have sentimental value. That's why there's a few duplicates. But I did go through these and give a bunch of the non-sentimental duplicates to my sister to bring to her after-school program she used to work at. And the kids were reading them and stuff, so they went to good use. And then these are my horses. I do have a couple on display, but these are all the ones that aren't. And I have them organized, so like my 2 Nibbles horses, my 2 Sparkling Unicorns, my 2 Walking horses, my Bratz horses, because they're kind of awkward, and some of my childhood ones, I got them used when I was a kid and I played with them all the time. So like Ginger, my dad had a fix, so he has like metal pins in some of his legs, so that's why I keep them here. And then we have my sister's 2 dressers that she had growing up. These are cheaply made. They're not the best quality, but they get the job done. So these are all a continuation of smaller accessories, like you can see Cave Club, and then these are their tiny things. This one's empty right now. So you can see I organize in a way where there's growing room. Some of them are just jumbled, and then some of them there's dividers in. It depends on the category. Like the food is a really good one. Like you can see how subdivided this is. I made all of these boxes. Yeah, it's just organized by how we use it. And then this, I did have American Girl stuff in until we redid the basement, and now it's empty, and it'll probably end up moving over there with shoes someday. This is just a basket I might put cabbies in. These I bought, I think 2 at a time in like 2014, and the reason why this one is no longer there is because where these are, these were, the 4 of them together were actually a little bit too long to fit on this bureau, which I didn't notice. So if I put the 4th one on there, I can't get into the closet. And again, these are all American Girl clothes. There's nothing in these tiny drawers except these decorative things that fell off the bureau. But like this is Caroline's drawer. This is Cecile and Marie's. You get the idea. All the historical characters. And same thing with this bureau. These are all historical characters. So this is Kaya's drawer. Felicity and Elizabeth's. All the way down. That's Rebecca's drawer on the bottom. These are my childhood Batmans. And yes, I do have the mirrors that went to this bureau, and my sister's upstairs. She has a Harry Potter painting that hangs over her bureau. So that mirror is over here. Because you know it's a set. So I wanted to keep it together, and that way they're kind of tucked out of the way where they won't break. And then in the closets, it's going to be hard to see. This is where all the backdrops were before, and as I said, it's one big closet, which you can't see. But this is where I keep all of my really big Barbie furniture. So like my Grand Hotel, this is a Frozen Castle, my 2006 Dream House, etc. And then the other side here, these are all extra hangers, because again, at some point there were clothes in this closet from my parents, and then we donated all their clothes over the years and stuff. But these are extra hangers. And then these are the big daddies, which you'd think would be awkward to get out of the closet, but they're really lightweight. So like this is my Barbie Dream House from 2013. I got this for free. This is my Disney castle that I got for free. Most of these big things in here we got for free or for a few dollars because people just want to get rid of them. And they're really easy to move out. And then, like I said, it's all one big closet that's connected. Those are like my Monster High, Catacombs, and Deluxe High School. And the furnace is on the other side of here. So when the hot water heater flooded the basement that time in 2018, it did get wet over here. So that's why we wouldn't want to keep our backdrops on this side of the closet when they were in here. But if these get a little wet on the bottom, they're plastic. And I do keep garbage bags on everything to minimize bugs getting in there and dust. And we don't really have a problem with mice down here. My cat Oliver eats mice, but...
These are some old photos that I saved that I want to say were taken around 2013 or 2014 that were posted to my Flickr until I filmed my organizational series years ago. And I just wanted to show how things have grown and changed. You can see there were things that weren't bagged, and there was a lot less, obviously. I just thought it was cool that I still had these. I had saved them for this video many, many years ago, and I thought I'd include them just from the various areas of the basement that I did bother documenting. And you can see a lot of the containers and things are still around. They're just being used for different stuff.
I hope you enjoyed seeing this video. I do have more detailed organizational series on how I store everything from dolls to their shoes, their accessories, their clothes. It's in my tips and tutorials playlist, which I will link in the iCards and in the description. And I'll also put my house tour in both the description and in the iCards in case you're curious to see how things have changed. For the most part, the system has been the same. I don't change it too much if it works. So there were just a few minor things. And if you're interested in checking out my Flickr, I have pictures of all of my dolls and the things that are stored in this tour, so you can check that out if you want. Feel free to. You don't need a Flickr to view my stuff. And until next time, love your dolls, love yourself, and love your life.